This is a CNIB Lake Joe at Home program. CNIB Lake Joe at Home logo, image description, an illustration of a marshmallow roasting in a campfire with a roof in the background.
I'm Patrick Shoebottom. I'm a fire prevention officer, bylaw officer with the Township of Seguin, which is where CNIB Lake Joseph Center is. I've been doing this since I was 15 years old, trying to help my community and better myself as well in so doing. And about 14 years ago, I got the opportunity to work full-time for the department instead of just as a volunteer. Like I said, helping the community and my fellow firefighters is the best part of my job. You guys all know Barry Quick and Eugene, who I share a passion with. And actually, I go out with Barry every Thursday night and fish. His girlfriend and my wife tease us that we have a date every Thursday night. And we catch lots of fish and enjoy the lakes up there, just like you guys get to do at camp. So I'm going to start with emergency planning and things that you can do to help you stay safe at home and also staying safe when you're not at home, say at a hotel or at CNIB Center or a resort on vacation. So there's some very key points to both areas, being at home or away, and that's to have two ways out. So if the smoke alarm goes off and you hear it, you wake up and you go to get out and it gets hot going the one way, or you notice that the smoke is feeling thicker on your lungs, you have a second way to get out. It's always very important. I'm sure in your homes you have two ways out or know of an alternate route to escape fire. Also, when you're at a hotel, I would say for yourselves, it could be very important that you ask to be in a room that has outdoor access straight to the ground floor instead of being on the 6th floor if possible. Just makes it a little bit quicker and easier for you to be able to escape a dangerous situation without a tremendous amount of help. At home, I would imagine you all live, or a lot of you live in several different situations, whether it be a town home or an apartment building or a standard standalone home. You should always have a place to go. When the smoke alarm goes off, you should always have a place to be able to meet a friend or a family member or a caregiver, so they know that if the fire alarm sounds and they evacuate your building, they're going to be able to find you at a certain place and not have to search for you. Okay, because you don't want to panic your friends and family if you don't need to be. There's also another thing to think about for emergency planning as far as homes go. It's things like prolonged power outages. You always want to make sure that you have enough food and water to last yourself about 3 days. And if you're in a place where it's not going to be self-sustaining, like my home, if the power went out for 3 days, I would have to drain the water down and make sure my pipes didn't freeze because I wouldn't have any heating source. So I know that myself and my family can go to my parents' place. So you need to think about other things like that as well, of alternate places to stay if for some reason a situation like that happens. Also, you have to think about how do I say this? If a natural disaster or a train derailment or things like that happen, you maybe need to think about, if I have to leave my home, if an OPP officer or a Toronto police officer or police officer of any sort shows up and says, listen, there's been a situation and you have to leave your home, they will have places for you to go and gather, but you might need to think about, where would I go in the long term? Where am I going to go for a week if I'm not going to be able to get back into my home for a week? Okay, so just little things to think about for your planning ahead for when the bad things could happen. Hopefully they never do, but having a plan makes it that much easier to be able to handle it. If you are going to a hotel or a motel or a resort of any sort, if you have a disability or difficulties seeing or hearing, or you may need extra help in an emergency situation, you need to let the front staff know, because they all have what's called a fire safety plan. And in those fire safety plans, they have a section in there that deals with people who need assistance. So if you need assistance to evacuate, they need to know so they can get their plan moving if something does happen to go on. Okay. Okay, so that's kind of emergency planning. Just quick and easy emergency planning for multiple different situations. Just little things to think about, and probably things that maybe you've already done. When I do this at schools and stuff, it's amazing. You ask a kid that's 6 years old where they live, and they're not able to tell you. Just little things like that, knowing simply your address. We need to do that, and have phone numbers and people to contact with us so we can do that as well. So next we go into what's in our house. Well, I'm sure everybody can walk out in the hallway in their home or in their apartment, and they look up and there's going to be a smoke alarm. Now, there's very different ways of doing smoke alarms. In a standard home that was built in 1970, you might not have several smoke alarms. You may just have one on every level, which is all that is required by law. And they don't have to be connected in any ways. One could be going off and the other one not going off. I would suggest that if you live in an apartment building, there's fire alarms as well as smoke alarms to alert you of a dangerous situation. If you live in your own home and it's an older home and it has the smoke alarms but they're not interconnected, I would suggest that you look at getting them interconnected. And you can do that wirelessly. There's certain units that will talk to one another. You don't have to hire an electrician or anything. You just have to have the ability to put them up and put some AA batteries in them. Excuse me. If for some reason your smoke alarm goes off and you don't know what it's about, you still need to just get out. Make the call when you get outside that your smoke alarms are going off, and get the fire department coming. If somebody who is there to assist you can check and figure out that, hey, you just burnt the toast, that's great. But it's most important to get out, and get out as quickly as possible. That's what your smoke alarms are for. That's what, if you're in an apartment building, that's what the fire alarm is for. It's simply to save your life. Okay, so that's all I have for smoke alarms, but with smoke alarms comes carbon monoxide alarms. So with carbon monoxide, it's produced by anything that produces heat using gas, oil, wood, anything that burns can create carbon monoxide. So if you have electric baseboard heaters, you're not going to be producing carbon monoxide. But if you have a gas furnace, you're going to be producing carbon monoxide. That carbon monoxide is going to be produced and go out your chimney. Everybody's safe, everybody's happy. But if something's failing inside your furnace and it gets into your house, you're not going to smell it, you're not going to taste it, you're not going to see it, you're not going to feel it. Nothing is going to alert you to that other than a carbon monoxide alarm. Very important to have your carbon monoxide alarms tested. So in my house, we test ours once a month, the same as we do our smoke alarms, just to make sure that they're working. I also suggest that if you have to buy a carbon monoxide alarm, you get one that gives you a digital readout. So there's some that have big 1-inch letters or 1-inch numbers on it, and it'll say 3 zeros across it when you hit the button. But if from Sherry, how do you test your carbon monoxide alarm? So that's how you test it. They have a test button just like a smoke alarm. But with the digital readout, if it goes off and you see that it's going off at about 25, well, okay, I have to get out and I have to call a repairman. If you see much higher numbers, hold on, I got to get out and I got to alert everybody and I have to get the fire department coming. When that carbon monoxide alarm goes off, it's because something has gone wrong and it has to be fixed, whether it's your wood stove, your furnace, your oven, anything that is malfunctioning could potentially hurt you. And the carbon monoxide alarm, sorry, yeah. I can't talk and read at the same time, Eugene. Eugene is asking me if there's any carbon monoxide alarms that give a voice readout. And I'm going to write that down because I honestly have no idea, Eugene. I know with so I know some smoke and carbon monoxide alarm combination units, they will go off and it'll say alert, 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 carbon monoxide. So it's basically telling you I'm alarming and it's carbon monoxide is the reason why I'm alarming. But I don't think there's one that says there's carbon monoxide is why I'm alarming and it's this many parts per million. Is that what you were looking for, Eugene? Okay. So so basically with carbon monoxide alarms, you should have them in your furnace room, in your living areas, especially if you have a wood stove or a fireplace in your living room, rather. You have to have one in there as well. Plus you have to have them in areas that are used for sleeping. So you could possibly have 4, 5, 6 carbon monoxide alarms in your home, depending on how big your home is. You see Lindsay looking around. Are you looking for your carbon monoxide alarm? Yeah. So I hope you have them. That's a short and easy presentation on smoke and carbon monoxide and emergency planning. But I'm sure through our conversations, we're going to have some more insight into what you might need for your community.
To learn more about CNIB Lake Joe at-home programs, visit cniblakejoe.ca.